Sayantan Mondal, he is a scholar of Physics Department, University of Calcutta. He will deliver his lecture. So, Sayantan, it's yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sayantan. I am working under the supervision of Professor in the Department of Physics at University of Calcutta. So today I am going to talk about my work on joint effect of chirality and biaxiality on the liquid crystalline phase formation by molecular ellipsoids. Now, chirality can be found in diverse areas of life, mostly in nature, in diverse areas from large scale of spiral galaxies to the biomolecular scale. It is always found that nature prefers a certain handedness. This is a schematic diagram of our typical cell membrane, which consists of molecules like cholesterol molecules, which are inherently chiral and also they are biaxial in nature. Protein, DNA, they are all chiral in nature. So now what is chirality? Chirality is an asymmetry. So it is an absence of symmetry. A chiral molecule always shows an improper broken rotational symmetry. Now, non-superimposable mirror images are called enantiomers of one another. Now, one chiral image is basically non-superimposable to its other images. Okay. So, for classification of molecular chirality, structural elements like chiral centers, chiral axes, and chiral planes are used. Now, from this diagram, one is chiral, another is achiral. Now, it can be well understood by the diagram here. Now, above the chiral, it will start from the initial position of that molecule, the initial configuration of the molecule, going through a rotation followed by a reflection, or a reflection followed by a rotation. It gives non-superimposable mirror image. So the molecule doesn't come back to its initial configuration. So that's why it is chiral. But in case of achiral, or it is also called mesocompound. In case of achiral or mesocompound, the molecule after a rotation followed by a reflection comes back to its initial state or initial configuration. So that's how the chirality or molecular handedness is specified. Now, why this is important? This is just to give a taste of why chiral images are important, different chiral images. Now, these two molecules, they are similar in structure almost. Why I said almost? Because in spatial arrangement, their handedness is different. One is S limonene, another is R limonene. Now, just due to the difference in their handedness, they show different properties. These S limonene sent as a lemon and R limonene sent as orange. Now, the kind of phases that is formed due to chirality are mainly chiral nematic or cholesteric phase. In typical nematic phase, the molecules try to orient themselves along a nematic director. Here, N is the nematic director. Now consider successive layers of this nematic director and imagine that at each layer this nematic director precesses around a certain reference axis, and that's how we can get the cholesteric phase. So, and about which axis this nematic director precesses, this is called the helix axis of cholesteric phase. There are other kind of frustrated mesophases that has been formed due to chirality. These are two phases, typically also twist grain boundary phases and spectic ester phases. Now, some works that have been already done on the computer simulation of rod-like uniaxial chiral molecules. Very few works done on the chirality induced biaxial ordering of molecules. So, in those systems, the biaxiality of the system comes from the chirality of that system, that is induced, that is due to an induced effect. But here we have considered the joint effect of molecular structural biaxiality and chirality. So we have taken both the interaction independent of one another, and we have used it in our coarse-grained single-site model. And here we are representing a qualitative study of structure property relations of the liquid crystalline phases formed by biaxial chiral molecules. Now, For that, we are doing a coarse-grained modeling. Why coarse-graining? To observe the collective behavior of our self-assembled system, and all atom models are not computer efficient. In a sense, there are too much number of degrees of freedom. So, reduce number of degrees of freedom, eliminating fine interaction details, understanding basic interaction responsible for certain properties. So, a typical atom, a molecule consists of several atoms, and these are coarse-grained into a single site model where we give the proper interaction, or rather our potential, into that interaction site, which mimics our ellipsoidal system. Now, in order to understand our model, let's start from the very famous and standard Lennard-Jones potential, where epsilon and sigma, these are well-depth, and sigma is the interatomic separation. Now, for system of spherical symmetry, since they are spherically symmetric, so it doesn't matter from which direction the molecules come from. So that's why sigma here is a constant, and also epsilon, well depth, it doesn't depend on molecular orientation due to spherical symmetry here. But when the molecules deviate from the spherical symmetry, so for rod-like elongated molecules, these two configurations, the interatomic separation, it changes, as well as the obviously the well depth will also change, and it is incorporated in a potential which is known as the given potential, where epsilon and sigma are no more constant like Lennard-Jones potential, but a function of interatomic separation R, and U1, U2 are the orientation vector of molecule 1 and 2 respectively in three-dimensional space. Since these are cylindrical symmetry, so in three-dimensional space, to denote their orientation, one unit vector is M. So that's how we denote these cylinders in three-dimensional space. Now, given model has some limitations, and that limitation is since it is based on Gaussian overlap model, and two similar type of Gaussian has been taken to incorporate that. So it is valid only for similar type. So it is only valid for the identical molecules and also for uniaxial molecules. So when the molecules deviate from uniaxial symmetry, the model doesn't give good result, or the model is not applicable for such systems. Now, the distance and energy functions in that given potential don't correctly estimate the interaction between non-uniaxial ellipsoids. Biaxial contribution is needed for that. Now, the parameters ellipsoid contact function had advantages over given potential. Now, in ECP, the ellipsoids they've been introduced as quadratic forms, and energy and distance contact function they have been written as quadratics and then optimize it with the help of brains method. Now, here, the modified ellipsoid contact potential is given by the equation number 3, where epsilon and sigma are functions of Ai, Aj, and R. And Ai, Aj, R are the rotation matrices. So these are 3x3 rotation matrices in three-dimensional space. So rank to tensor, and they are for transformation of molecule I and J from lab frame to the body frame. Sigma 0 is the smallest semi-axis length. Now, sigma and epsilon, these are the orientation dependent function, contact function, and these are being optimized in order to incorporate two ellipsoidal behavior. R is the unit vector along the intermolecular separation of ith and jth molecules. Now, to add chirality, we have added a pseudoscalar term, and that term is this second term in equation 4, where we can see this box product term, it is pseudoscalar in nature. And AIT, AL3 are the unit vectors along the same major axis of ith and jth molecule. And this term is responsible for giving an intermolecular torque, further giving a molecular twist in our system. And when we see, this is the chiral strength parameter. When this is 0, then this model reduces down to the normal ECP model, and when C is non-zero, then it is for chiral molecule. And in our simulation, we have taken a system of typically 1372 number of molecular ellipsoids, and we have done NVT molecular dynamics using Nuzewko thermostat we have used conventional cubic periodic boundary condition, chiral strength parameter values. They've been varied for different sets of biaxial parameters, and welded parameters set to 1 and 2. Now, all the detailed calculation I have put that into later slides. If anybody is interested, I can show you that. Okay. So, biaxial parameters, for biaxial parameters set 1, the sigma and epsilons are taken like this as this ratio, and for biaxial parameters set 2, we have taken this. Okay. So, these are for two different sets of biaxialities, where we can see that sigma x, y, z, epsilon x, y, z, these are different for biaxial system. And simulation run has been started from a equilibrium isotopic phase, and scale temperature has been reduced to order more, to observe more ordered scale. And initial configuration was the previous higher temperature equilibrium configuration. Okay. Now these are snapshot from our system. This is for one set of biaxiality, this is for another set of biaxiality. From this figure, these are for different chiral strength parameter values. And we can see that cholesteric phases has been formed in both of the set of biaxialities. But as for higher biaxiality, the small chiral domains with cylindrical, twisted cylindrical networks, which are elliptic in shape, they have been formed. Now, these are some correlation functions. This is density-to-density correlation or pair correlation function. This is pair correlation along local director, and this is S220 longitudinal orientational correlation function, and this is S22 on a pseudoscalar longitudinal orientational correlation. And these are the order parameter values, and at low temperatures, this green one is for biaxial order parameter, and this one is for the uniaxial order parameter. For lower temperature, biaxial order parameter substantially increase for both set of biaxiality. So base biaxiality increases at lower temperature. Now currently we are trying to modify this chiral version of ECP to include implicit solvent effect. We are doing that implicit, that's why I said implicit solvent effect. And later our aim is to simulate for a system of mixture consisting of different kinds of molecules. By different I mean molecules with different shapes and sizes. And these are the references that I use for that, and these are the expression of correlation function that I just showed in the previous slide. Okay, and this is the uniaxial order parameter, this is biaxial order parameter, this is pseudoscalar orientational correlation, this is scalar orientational correlation function, and these are the analytical calculations for our simulation. And finally, thank you for your kind attention.